Overwatch League in itself. So for this lineup, I could see them doing quite well, especially with this backline with Crimzo, still a very, very fantastic flex support. False on the tank as well, has that flexibility. And Seeker is a truly standout hit scan, can at times be the strongest in the lobby.
Yeah, the DPS go as we know him, right? But man, Moxie, I feel like we already know that this is one of the most anticipated matches, especially for a day one match to be coming through. But I need to know, what are the stakes in your opinion? I need, like, set the tale to be told here between Team Canada and Team USA.
Dustin's already raised one storyline, which is USA, obviously a lot of doubters coming in with some of the performances from some of the players in the Overwatch League that have been picked up to this roster. So a decisive win over Canada is immediately going to be able to silence all of that and boost so much confidence and morale. But for Canada, it's personal. They are playing for Team Canada, and they're going to be playing up against Toronto Defiance players who literally have their label in the title. Both of these teams, absolute giants in Group A. USA, obviously the favorites, being the current defending champion. But if Canada are able to walk away with a win, instantly Canada becomes that main team to beat in the spotlight, and USA looks a little bit vulnerable to all of the players and teams below as well. But I mean, look at this roster. Does anyone here look vulnerable? Definitely not after the performances from some of them in mid-season madness. Rupal was an absolute monster a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, Rupal's insane. Aspire as well, both coming up into the starting lineup. I mean, that's a big deal for this team to run double flex support as one of the off cooldown, as well as the build towards that beat drop. Sugarfree still has the pulse bomb as well. Team USA was in control of that point, but they opt to back out for now and get a re-engage.
Lots of percentage, however, gained from the fight. With USA literally just throwing themselves onto that point and keeping it sold. No one playing in position, being multiply caught out by that Rampage. As now we just see that annoyance come for Sugarfree, trying to bait out that shout as quickly as possible. So the Jungle Queen is so vulnerable, doesn't have the opportunity to be able to use the Rampage, and now USA get to move on to the point for the flip.
90% on the board. Hydron's Bob in that fight was used. Canada still have those ultimates, but it's so hard for False to find a good enough ultimate. At the time, they do have that beat engage, like I said. USA have no support ultimates building up to UltraViolet, but Sugarfree, he comes back onto Seeker, who had to touch the point to stop overtime. Mayfall now commits the beat drop as well. Down a man. Noxious goes low. Will fall to Coluge. False has been holding on to this ultimate for the entire map, and hits absolutely nobody as Coluge and the rest of Team USA collapse onto Canada, bringing it up on the round in Ilios.
No, I'm going to start a petition that we rename overtime to Lenny time. Because Sugarfree just absolutely dominated that Tracer 1v1 on his solo mission, with that Rampage finally being invested, having held on to it for so long. And like you said, it finds absolutely nothing, as USA just do such a good job of picking up that point and then playing around the high ground, around the sidelines, so that no one gets caught out by the JQ.
So smart by Team USA overall. Fantastic teamwork for them to avoid False and make him look stupid in that fight, honestly. Great work from them. Now into the second map, Moxie. You know, I'm curious if they stick with the same thing, because, you know, Noxious, maybe without that Ashe having to duel him on the backside, could find some work, but it's anti-grenaded and chased down by Hydron. Sugarfree is also immediately there with that beam, and it's just too much damage for Canada to deal with at the moment. They get immediately wiped just without Seeker and False just backing up. Seeker does get delayed. False does trade back Coluge, but will also lose the mech as USA flip that point back in their favor. That point percentage advantage, although there is still a long way to go on this map. Noxious and the rest of his team rotate towards that point. Actually, he holds the high ground. Now dove on by the Winston, but it's Seeker to find that pulse bomb early on to Rupal. Nade did come out of Noxious to slow him down on that push, so they can come back and deal with him. But Canada, off of a fantastic pulse bomb from Seeker, reclaimed that point before Hydron could even touch. And a nano boost from Coluge was committed from USA as well, even though they're down in this fight. Coluge trying to find some more value, will go inside, building towards that primal rage, has built it just at the last second before the incident grenade could find his life. He'll jump back towards the point, a full spot from Hydron to try to equalize it, and it does. Sugarfree also copied the in as well. to continue their push. USA have rotated all the way back around to the point as Crimzo is gone. That's a lot of the healing gone for Canada. False can't even die in the point to make sure his Diva Bomb gets maximum value. Hydron actually follows through onto False in Baby Diva form and dies for that kill, but that's totally worth it because now USA have the advantage.
These dive targets, making sure that USA do not get the opportunity to play off of Sugarfree's damage, because Seeker goes too aggressive and gets traded.
I mean, they've noticed who to focus here. Seeker on that back line, trying to play towards the Mega Health Pack, but unfortunately chased down by Sugarfree and the rest of Team USA. Meanwhile, Sugarfree, the target of Canada in this fight, integrated also onto False, who loses the mech and then give up that point to Team USA. Canada surely are going to start backing up. They still have the Baby Diva here. Crimzo also has found Sugarfree in a trade, but Hydron eventually finds the Baby Diva of False. Mateball also gets staggered as well.
That's going to be so annoying for Canada to deal with. Staggered of your Baby Diva and your Brigitte, and now potentially Noxious too! Oh no, here it is. Hydron waits in position, doesn't even need to commit the pulse one for the interception, as USA are going to be able to, in a pretty dominant style, take the first map.
You know, he decides to back out of there, obviously playing a bit more reserved than you would like to see other Echo players. Meanwhile, Aspire goes aggressive, forces Canada off the high ground. That's already fantastic for USA, who surely will take advantage of it. Noxious has the recall, still going for that duel. Very aggressive on the high ground, but does eventually have to give it up as Team USA have control, but still not a lot of damage comes to Coluge. Goes incredibly low. Seeker tries to boost back up to the high ground, but gets chased down by Noxious and the rest of Team Canada. Meanwhile, Seeker was straight. No tank player, so they commit the nano boost on Seeker, who was aggressive with it on the backline. Crimzo removed, tries to find the Brigitte and does. With that quick melee, and the rest of Canada now surely will be killed as well. And USA control point A.
The way.
Cart rounds that corner. Copy still available. Aspire has that pulse bomb ready to go. Goes towards the elephant angle. Meanwhile, Canada built up pretty much every ultimate in the game. UltraViolet also building that nano. But oh my god! What a one clip from Aspire with a quick snipe from Coluge as well. Sugarfree and Coluge combined for both Cal and Crimzo too. And USA look like they're not slowing down anytime soon.
So the obvious hard evidence of Nambani, however, is that it's point C for the defense, right?
To go for the pulse bomb and then the recall, but Sugarfree on the low ground has found Cal on the re-engage. False also loses mech. Opts to not use the Diva Bomb. They're just going for a quick team fight loss because of potentially what you said, Moxie. Just go point C and maybe find some hold here.
Yeah, but this is where it becomes dangerous. They're dying split, they're dying staggered. And again, the momentum is going to turn against Canada because neither don't get that reset moment. USA is not allowing any mercy. If Canada get an inch, they're going to take a mile, or I guess the American equivalent.
I love Lenny, man. I mean, this is just the shooting bodies, Noxious as well, so no more Tracer, but Canada's got the full response. USA has committed some big ultimates. If Canada can build up towards this nano, they potentially could disengage Sugarfree with the coffee.
They need the bomb. So what they need at the moment is they can at least send it on the point when USA just push past False and move on to this backline. So Sugarfree is looking for the coffee. Who is he gonna go for? There it is. It's onto the Anti-Nate connects onto all of the members in Canada. They're so close they can't dodge it. And USA, with just the damage coming through from College's cannon, is going to be able to swing the fight.
Everybody removed from Team Canada. 3 minutes and 10 seconds. It's just Crimzo to touch, who is staying on the Ana because he knows it isn't possible. Even swap into the Moira is not a play that you're going to be able to do. 3 minutes and 5 seconds for Team USA. Oh, Canada. They got rolled and smoked my doggies.
Look at Mercies to pull off reses. I've seen enemies, Echoes, copy Lucios to be able to Soundbar when they're down in numbers. But that anti-nade was devastating. That anti-nade broke the entirety of Canada's C defense. It all hinges on we have faster respawns. If we die, we're going to be able to stagger ourselves. We'll have the Bob, we'll have the nano boost, we'll be able to stall for a full regroup. They go down in one fell swing because of that nade.
I mean, is it fair to say that Canada's looking a bit shell-shocked at points, right? Lenny with that dunk, like you said on the copy, to really just, oh my God, just destroy Canada at the very end.
Yeah, it's the momentum shift. I told you about this on Control. Canada just every single time they started being played from behind, they were never able to find that moment where they were able to regroup and mentally reset. And USA, they identified that one weakness and they pushed.
Pushed hard. I mean, it's Raven. That's all we can say. That's all you can say.
Okay,
They got rolled. They got rolled.
Historically defensively favored. The same turnaround that USA had when they were able to break A.
You know what Team Canada's problem is? They don't have World Cup MVP XQC on the roster. Cal, though, is able to find Rupal and UltraViolet aggressive. Rico play to get those two opening shots, and False is there to find a Spire, and that was a clean take from Canada. Maybe now this is their opportunity.
That Kuriko is doing work. Those kunais do so much damage, but more importantly, if you get jumped on by either Sugarfree or Coluge, you have the ability to be able to survive yourself with the Suzu and the Swift Step. And Canada are just prioritizing support staying alive, not getting early picks, so that USA can't find the numbers momentum that they had the previous round.
USA now regroups towards this point. Aggressive play onto Cal and Noxious at the back line, but an injured in on Coluge forces him to jump out, though. They are still stopped from capping out this point. Canada is Noxious trying to take the duel with Sugarfree, but Sugarfree is well aware he might have that mechanical edge, and Rupal also gets rid of Sugarfree, or gets rid of Seeker, and Sugarfree takes out Noxious. Cal, though, does trade back Aspire, but it might be too little too late. They don't have any assistance here in Team USA. Well, they do nano boost re-engage, Canada does, on to False, and the Pulse Bomb from Sugarfree is committed. No Sleep Dart hit for Crimzo. Shooting Rush also, Canada really wants to win here and now, even though they're down in terms of numbers. False has the deep bomb. He lost the next there, and they're not able to find these kills just yet. USA are still strong, still healthy on the point. They commit Coluge's Primal Rage. Noxious, though, what a pulse bomb onto the enemy tracer of Sugarfree. That's what you needed to finally capture on this point, though. Rupal does trade it back. Coluge is still alive and healthy, though False eventually will chase down Rupal. Eventually, Coluge comes back to the point, but he's taken out by a Sleep Dart from Crimzo. And although it was messy, Canada will finally take point out. Shoot. No kills just yet. He's also anti-grenaded and is chased down, but he backs up. Now, the bomb committed from Aspire. Seeker as well. Pulse bomb from Sugarfree! And it's huge! It's a 2K! Pulse bomb from him. False also connects onto Rupal, but Coluge has continued USA's dominance in the kill department. Cal is trying to equalize it, but he cannot stop Lenny time like he called it earlier. That's a 3K for Sugarfree.
Momentum do have to pull back a little bit. Good anti-nade hits onto Coluge, incredibly low. Do have to regroup back to his team, but all that does is just supercharge UltraViolet and Rupal's ultimate economies, as Canada just trying to push this payload and get any more time, any distance without having to go past the gauntlet. And Sugarfree in the back line!
With a nade 2 from across the map, UltraViolet connected 2 meters and 69, or 2.69 meters left to go. Deep bomb from False committed to try to zone and make sure they capture out that payload with the Kitsune Rush, but unfortunately not enough follow-up damage is there towards Coluge, who was touching that payload. USA will stop yet again, another Canada push.
Payload pretty close to that line, however, so if Seeker builds the bob, they might be able to send it on to Car. Good sleep onto Coluge, however, but they're not able to translate it into a kill. Sugarfree still not allowing Noxious pass.
Okay, did go for the mini though, so stole that from Sugarfree. However, he does have to come back. Oh my god! The pulse bomb sticky, but Sugarfree had that recall still available to go. And UltraViolet was there to peel off Noxious. I mean, this back line of UltraViolet and Rupal has truly been amazing. The Sleep Darts consistently from UltraViolet are there, and they want to continue the pressure. They're running it onto Canada at the moment, who are desperately trying to live. False trying to back off from Rupal, who is pretty much all of the way in Canada's spawn. Crimzo tries to go for the Sleep Dart and Sugarfree, but cannot connect. Now there's 20 seconds left to go for Canada.
Yeah, USA just making sure that Canada doesn't get the ability to be able to use this bomb to back capture Sugarfree. As Pulse Bomb is looking for an in into that backline. Canada has one good shot left at this next fight.
And they go from that dive already. Coluge on the top of the bus. Bob is here though, like you said. Pauses Sugarfree to engage, makes him back up. Bit of an awkward angle for him. Coluge now decides to back up. Also, the nano boost was committed from False. The tempo is there for Canada. They're continuing this push forward, but Aspire dies to Bob. The equivalent of Torbjorn Turret removes him in ultimate form, and the Bob gets more. That's a 3K, and the overtime ticks down. USA stops Canada and get the 2-0 victory. Oh my god, USA look good as hell.
Something that Sugarfree continued to take full advantage of, because every single time we saw him, Noxious wasn't getting too aggressive into that backline. He was having to make sure that Sugarfree didn't get past, and when that one obstacle fell, it was hunting season for Crimzo's head.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. And then when you flip it over towards the Team USA side as well, the picks coming out from Rupal, and UV being the Brig and the Ana, it's really nice because Rupal allows that additional peel playing towards that backline as well alongside UV to just enable him with those sleeps that you kept calling out there. Dustin.
Yeah. I think that, like, yeah, UltraViolet played really well. Rupal is, well, I mean, just everybody in USA looked good. I think it was like the big question for USA coming into this was, you know, how is this backline going to play with Rupal in the lineup instead of, you know, having the likes of OG? And obviously, I think they've come out and they've been able to, you know, have Rupal play incredibly aggressive with this front line, have coordinated dives. And, you know, I think it's good for a team. They played well, especially against a team like Canada, which bodes well for the future. But, man, I'm really curious to see what happens in the later stages of this World Cup when USA has to go against some of the elite talent that have those incredibly flexible hero pools.
And when it comes down to the side of Team Canada, just to flip it back over there, Moxie, I got to know overall, what were they lacking compared to, I guess, what we were anticipating seeing from them?
Yeah, I can't, like, they weren't, like, lacking mechanically. A lot of the time, it was just they got overwhelmed on all angles. And this is something that actually USA did a very good job of. They had so much coverage. Like Dustin said, that dive was incredibly coordinated.
Yeah.
But at times it didn't feel like all of those players were going after one player specifically. It felt like all of those players were going after all of those players at the exact same time because they had just such a good monopoly of those spaces. And every single time we saw that Canada would get so worried about having to reapproach points entirely, even if they were down players, they would overcommit into fights just to be able to buy themselves any bit of respite to be able to hold on to that ground, because the second that they had to start taking steps backwards, that opened the floodgates for USA to just surge forward from all of those different approaches and sweep through the team.
I'd pretty much just to add on to you, Moxie, I just think that, like, you know, it's easy to scapegoat, right? And that's why I'm going to do it. I think that obviously